Well, good evening, and welcome and thank you for joining me this evening. This evening on in review, uh, look at some of the key top news of the week thus far in the UK and around the world, and especially even in Jamaica as well. I want to thank those joining me on TikTok on the Overflow. Thanks for Joe's joining me on Instagram. Oh yes, Instagram as well. Just remember, those who join me on Instagram and those joining me on Facebook as well. Full house. What can I say? It's been a very interesting week so far. It's a interesting time in the world thus far, and I think one of the things that I noticed over the week, and it's regarding the in the UK at present, we're having the countdown to the general election. One can say it's a countdown to the general election. One can say that the Labour Party is strumming it up, and the Conservative Party is upbeat or whatever. If anything, everyone is trying to actually um, put in their pound of flesh leading up to December, leading up to November, when the election is supposed to be called to be at some point. So it's a very interesting time here in the UK. It's also a very interesting time as well in the world. At the same, the what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Ukraine. Uh, I was taking a walk the other day, and one of the things that I said is that it is like a deja vu. It's like the world watching all over again. If anything, the what happened with Rwanda, what happened in Rwanda, with the Tutsi and the Hutsi, whereby the world was watching and possibly complicit while people were killing off each other, and just watching. And could one say that at the same time, that is what is also happening maybe in the Middle East? That is a topic which keeps going on in the in Ukraine and Russia. That's another thing. We heard recently of the shooting of one of those Baltic leaders recently. I don't know how is he now. Don't know. I mean, people are like to say that they know who is behind it, but I always say, if you know who is behind it, you need to send that evidence to the authorities and try to get them to actually arrest those who are behind it, if anything, as well. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, Michelle. How are you? So the topic is conservative and Labour election watch. But I want to say at the same time, I'll have to touch on what's going on in Jamaica. There's a big development going on in Jamaica, and it's international, and it will create a ripple effect. What is happening in Jamaica at present is that there's a thing called the CRC, that's a commission for the committee that deal with the constitutional reform. And what has happened is that there's a big thing between the two major political parties in Jamaica, whereby they are the recommendation for the which is supposed to be sent to the government, or supposed to send to Parliament for it to go through Parliament to set the motion in place for Jamaica to become a republic, removing the king as the head of state. But then there's a little issue which is happening regarding what is actually in the recommendation. And the key point that the opposition leader has said is that the whole issue of the final court of appeal, which is the Privy Council and the Caribbean Court of Justice, or whatever like that, means to say take off the Privy Council or bring the Privy Council on the whole recommendation for that to be decided at the same time, when you remove the King of England as the final court of appeal. So that is actually having a look, slightly stink in Jamaica. And some are actually saying that there's a need for it to be the process supposed to be stop the process, stop the process, So we don't go. But listen, So that's something that I always want to say, that in Jamaica, in June the 16th to the 19th, there's going to be the diaspora conference, you know. And I tell you what, I'm going to play this. There it is.
Attention Jamaicans abroad! Participate in the Diaspora Day of Service on June 20, which follows the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Plan a project or join an existing one. Whether you're planting seeds of change, sharing your skills, or lending a helping hand, together we can build a brighter future for our fellow Jamaicans. Register today and learn more at diasporaconferenceja.eventbrite.com. Sponsored by JN Group, VM Group, and Grace Kennedy. A message from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
Okay, well, that's a plug for the Jamaica Diaspora Conference. The Jamaica Diaspora Conference, June the 16th to the 19th, is going to be in Jamaica. Of course, you know, there's issues going on there regarding alternative conferences. But hey, the Jamaica Diaspora Conference is there, and they say come down and to invest June the 16th to 19th. So yeah, if you want to do that, what can I say? All ideas and all words and all voices must contend as well. But listen, I don't know if I have any guests today, but I just go with the flow, or I just choose to go with it. But today, Keir Starmer sets out what Labour would do first if it wins the government, if it wins election. Yeah, and I'm just gonna play something here, because what is happening is, one could say that the Labour Party is gearing up to be possibly the next, you know, the next party, the next government. You know, Conservative, one could be saying, is on its way out. But I've been there before. I've seen it before. You know, I've seen it before whereby all eyes were set and it was supposed to be a Labour thing. And then lo and behold, what has happened? Conservative win again. It happened with Ed Miliband. It happened with Jeremy Corbyn. Let's listen to what Mr. Starmer is saying.
You've lost your jacket. The buttons seem to have fallen off your sleeves. I think you must have left your tie on the train. It's not that hot in here. I'm trying to work out what's going on, because political leaders appearing on the television don't do things by accident. What's this all about?
This is about doing politics in a different way. It's about trying to get across the sort of leader I am, and my mindset, and who I've got in my mind's eye when I make decisions, which I think is crucially
it's the presidential look, your face on the leaflets, it's your first steps rather than the party's first steps. Are you comfortable with that?
I'm very comfortable with the fact that the missions we've set out to change our country for the better, and now the first steps, are fundamental to me and the way I think. They are fundamental to what we're trying to achieve from the country. But it is, of course, I have to lead from the front. I've led various organisations. You always have to lead from the front. Be clear about what you're trying to achieve, about how you're going to get there.
On the image question I ask, because I know it might sound flippant or trivial, but you've chosen to appear today as you have, without the jacket, without the tie, with the sleeves rolled up. What's that about?
That is about leading from the front. Now, I worked in a public service. We had to change. I had to lead from the front. Equally, we have to lead from the front. I have to lead from the front here. I'm talking about change to our country, and in a sense, I want to get on with the delivery. You know, I've heard I don't know how many flowery speeches about the change that people want for their country. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the nuts and bolts of what is the change, is the clarity about the change, and can you answer the how question, which is how are you going to get there?
Okay, so let me just stop that there. So that's Mr. Starmer, and I think the big question is, people are so much caught up into semantics and so caught up into charismatic, so sort of caught up into how persons dress. I mean, the other day, someone even asked me a question, what am I doing with a Union Jack here? People are so caught up on many different things. They're so caught up on these, I would say, petty things. But one of the things which Mr. Starmer talked about was, he was talking about the policies. So what he says is that the Labour leader unveiled a pledge card with 6 key policies, including delivering economic stability and providing 40,000 more hospital appointments each week. And some of the pledges are more modest in scale than 5 national missions, but he said they were the first steps towards Labour bigger plans, and Labour is pledging to fund policies on NHS, school breakfast, club by boosting efforts. And one of the things that Labour is actually saying is that the Conservative Party have lost the key factor, which they said is one of their key policies, is about the boat people. And the boat people somehow that has fallen down because that has not actually worked. This was a Rwanda policy which was being discussed as much as possible there. So Labour is actually saying that they're on course to be government, and the signs are there. But as I said before, and I said it in years ago, or not so long ago, not in the distant future, there was Mr. Ed Miliband, and Ed Miliband was the man who was supposed to be the next prime minister. He even came down with a stone, like the Moses stone, with all the different policies, and he lost big time. Everybody was shocked when it came on to Jeremy Corbyn. Everybody thought he was going to win. Lo and behold, he did not win, but all the signs and all the polls were actually going that way. Now, one of the thing about politics is that the turnout is very poor at times, and the turnout being poor somehow can make a big difference. One sometimes cannot even watch the local government elections to have an idea when it comes on to a general election, right? It's happening in Jamaica. We can see that again. We're going to come in Jamaica in 2025 when we're going to have the next election. We'll see if what turned out in the election of the local government, where it was really neck to neck, if that's what's going to happen in 2025 in the major election, and that's one of the key factors. Now, Rishi Sunak now, who is the present prime minister, many people say he was appointed and not elected, because they said the UK have had 3 prime ministers unelected so far. What was it? It was Liz Truss, and then Boris Johnson won, Rishi Sunak, Liz Truss, and then Rishi Sunak. Well, Rishi Sunak is warning that the next few years most dangerous for UK in a major speech. Next few years going to be more dangerous for UK. And what he's saying, that Rishi Sunak says, the UK stands at a crossroad ahead of some of the most dangerous years in a pre-election pitch to voters on Monday. So he says, not a pre-election pitch. In a speech, the Prime Minister argues his bold ideas can create a more secure future for Britain. Is it scaring the UK populace? It will be his biggest intervention since the Conservative bleak showing in the local elections. Labour said the Tories cannot fix the UK problem as they are the problem. Mr. Sunak's speech in London focused on security and broad challenges facing the UK, as he argues voters face a stark choice when who will lead the country. Question is, who do you want to lead the country? Who do you want to lead the UK? Nigel Farage said both of them are boring. Nigel Farage said the turnout is going to be so poor at the next election. Reform UK, who is is going for the right. They're taking away votes from the Conservative, and I believe that by virtue of such, that will bring in the Labour Party. Will there be a deal with the Reform Party and the Conservative? Will there be a big deal? Will Nigel Farage come out of the woodwork and start to run again or so like that, because he's always there on the fringes? Mr. Sunak said, I'm convinced that he said that the next few years will be some of the most dangerous yet most transformational for a country. Prime Minister is also expected to talk about the foreign policy, describing China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran as an axis of authoritarian states who threaten the UK global immigration and artificial intelligence. So, the Tories lost 470 councillors, as much as 20, in the local election, as well as a key mayoral race in the West Midlands. Didn't win London as well. Labour, the national polling puts Labour as much as 20 points ahead of the Conservative in a general election voting intentions. Question is, who do you want to win? Who do you see as the next government in the UK? Who do you see as the next government in the USA as well? USA is piping up there. Trump in court. And while he's in court, what is happening? He's actually gaining grounds. Can you imagine? He's in court, but yet he's gaining grounds. So Ben E, you said Labour is on course to win. And why do you want Labour to win? And anyone, why do you want Conservative to win? So therefore, there's a big thing on the horizon. The big thing on the horizon when I see Trump as next president, but not a fan of him. That's very interesting. See Trump as next president. Who sees Trump as the next president? Michelle, is he your president? Trump is next president. Everybody said, I think Biden say he wants to have a what should I say? Want to have a debate with him, hustings or so. That would be very interesting, I must say. Biden, I wonder how they're going to do that. It is such a travesty, I must say, whereby a massive place as the United States of America somehow is having it very difficult to have young, strong, new, vibrant leaders. And I'm not going to say that what you have when it comes on to age, because age is just a number sometimes, right? It is a faculty and it's the cognitive ability that is the key thing. So one cannot say age sometimes. But just like how America has, 2 terms, I believe as well in the constitutional reform in Jamaica, which I'll touch on shortly, should really have 2 terms as well. The Conservatives have been terrible, but Labour are the best of the worst options. There we go. I vote for the Green Party. What about the Lib Dems? It's all about Nick. Remember? Nick and Mr. Nick and David Cameron. It's all about Nick at the same time. Yeah. Many will say that the what should I say? The no one is actually addressing the whole issue of fundamentals of immigration. What would you say? The fundamentals of immigration, the fundamentals of the boat, that is the issue of Rwanda. Always say sometimes in a very maybe facetious way by saying, what is wrong with Rwanda? Rwanda policy is going to cost us more than keeping the immigrants. I was listening to about that point there about the Rwanda policy costing us more, and about the 3,000 which was given to the gentleman who actually went to Rwanda. And they say when you check it out, actually, put a person on a plane and go to Rwanda with £3,000 to keep someone, they say, is much more than that. That's what they said at the same time. To keep someone is so much more than that. So when it says it's going to cost us more than keeping the immigrants, well, the big question is, I always think that should there be some sort of policies, really, some sort of policies that somehow sift, and I shouldn't say that word sift because it is people. It is just like the term of collateral damage when it comes on to wars, come on to Ukraine and Russia, come on to Hamas and Israel and Palestine. And when people die, they call them collateral damage. Collateral damage is actually real people. I was using the word a while ago called sift. And I was saying, when it comes on to immigration, a lot of persons who are immigrants, they're actually successful and professional persons as well. And therefore, there need to be some sort of, is the right word, sift, or actually going through and to see how one can actually gain the advantage of immigrants. Because, hey, I'm an immigrant as well. Many people in this country are immigrants. You know, many people. Someone say, Michelle say, I was just saying to my daughter about the election coming up. I was saying to her that I bet you when the election come around, it won't be Biden running. The Democrats better start prepping someone. Yep. The Democrats better start prepping someone. But also, sometimes, whatever, the signs could be on the wall as well, Michelle, for a Trump not to be there. Because if some of these cases turn a particular way, I don't know, can he be the president still, and if he's in prison? Can he? Yeah? Can Trump be the president if he's in prison? Can Trump have his special security detail with him if he's in prison? Can he run the United States if he's in prison? Can he? Will he? Should he? That's a very interesting one that one will have to watch. Remember to like and share, and let me know more about what your thoughts on that point there. There's something else that came up is about children and let me see. I saw it earlier. Somebody sent it to me a while ago, and this is about 9-year-old children. 9-year-old children. They said, this is what it says. The UK government have announced their intention to stop sex education for children under 9 in English schools. Teachers should also tell pupils gender ideology is a contested belief. Why only under 9? Why only guidance? Why not outlaw gender ideology? These are some thoughts which have been going around there. What do you think about that? Disturbing reports of inappropriate, dangerous ideology being taught in schools. And many parents were being refused access to the materials used to teach their children about complex and sensitive issues. So schools, parents should be able to see the resources being used in their children. Sex education. Lessons and content should be factual and appropriate. Schools will not teach about the contested concept of gender identity. Parents will not be able to see materials being used in class. There'll be new age ratings for sensitive. You're right, Julie. Why not let children be children? Why are people messing with children? Let me see what Michelle is saying here. I'm not even talking about Trump in him. I'm talking about Biden not mentally healthy enough to be running. Yeah. Biden cognitive issue. Yeah. Back to the children bit. Why not allow children to be children? One of the things in children and family law, they always talk about the interest of a child is paramount. What is the interest of that child? It's paramount. Children should, I remember growing up, be able to run around, not having your brain indoctrinated with all these sort of things, the woke culture and all those different factors. You're able to be yourself. You buck your feet, you sort of hit your feet, you fall on the ground, you hurt yourself, you get cut, and all those sort of things, and that was all right. But now everybody is so very edgy. Children actually have to be staying in sometimes, not wanting to go out. Parents scared. Of course, the world has changed to a certain extent. The whole things have just been changing the whole game as much as possible. And I would say that one has reached what should I say, a very dangerous frontier. Would you say a very dangerous frontier? That what can say about that? You know. Let's talk about Jamaica. Let's talk about Jamaica now. You know, because there's an interesting thing which is happening in Jamaica. Very interesting. I don't have the videos there to play or that, but a very interesting thing which is happening in Jamaica. A few years ago, when there was coming up to a major general election in Jamaica, there was this issue about dual citizenship. Persons who had American citizenship. Those were the focus, American citizenship. All right. Not British, because British are Commonwealth. Actually, the Constitution in Jamaica now provides that anyone who is a Commonwealth citizen can actually be the Prime Minister of Jamaica. All right. Anyone with a British citizenship or anyone from a Commonwealth can be the Prime Minister of Jamaica. In America, that's not the case. You've got to be a born American or so, you know. And that's one of the things which is happening with the whole scope of this referendum with the constitution reform. Someone asked, what happened to the plane with 200 Indians undocumented? Actually, they're gone. They got them gone back at them yard, them said. The people that were on the plane, them gone back at them yard. Still don't know what happened there. Don't understand what happened there as to where these persons came from and where them gone. You know what I'm saying? Don't have no idea where they come from, you know? Yes, Virgin, what gone?
Yes, how you doing, man?
I'm cool in the Malibu. Yes, Virgin, what gone?
I'm here.
Good.
Hold on. You guys up on Jamaica time?
Huh?
You guys on
there's
Jamaica?
There's something called work, you know.
Oh yes. Yes. What's Tama said? Tama said we need to get people back to work, innit?
Yeah, but in what age group?
What's that?
What age group? What category? Is he talking about people like Gary?
You start already?
You're right, Gary. You're right.
Yeah, I'm all right, brother.
I was just actually rolling with the punch a while ago. I was just rolling with the punch, just looking at the whole aspect of, it was Mr. Keir Starmer who gave his speech today, setting out the whole 6 points for the general election, and Rishi Sunak setting out a few days ago about that it's going to be one of the dangerous times now. We're living in a very dangerous era, you know. And
that is scaremongering, though.
That was scaremongering.
Yeah, I think so. Because if you know as a prime minister it's dangerous times, what are you trying to do to fix it?
Yeah.
Right? Don't come and play mind games. Know that it's coming down to election.
Yeah.
That it's no dangerous times. When you knew from the start that where the times now is different from back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Right? Play your part to comfort people's minds.
So you mean to say there needs to be this positive element?
Yeah, be positive about it. Don't gaslight anybody or make people think that your policies are better than the other person's policies, and if they come in, it is going to be worse. I don't think they can try any harder to be worse than him.
What's your take on that, Gary?
I mean, I would agree. And well, you see, policies. I mean, policies before election times, as we all know, are dreams that they hope to do and hope to fulfill
Mm.
once they get into a particular position. But outside of that, as we all know, when these men and women and those who have made these dreams or told their dreams, it never happens.
Yeah.
Why? Why again? It's because the policies that were there before to enact something that is new coming in on something that probably was a policy probably 4 years before.
Mm.
So it's sometimes to bring new things into an already complicated scenario, it just makes things worse, and a lot of these things really don't really go to fruition.
Yes. Well, I guess what is happening is one is set now for a major battle leading up to the general election. We saw last week whereby you had the lady Daniela Fick or whatever, she jumped over ship and she went to join the Labour Party, and I think the Labour people are not so happy about her being there because, of course, they realized that she was actually trying to lobby, I think, the Justice Minister, Lord Chancellor, at the time when her husband was caught with his pants down and has been locked up. So therefore, they're saying she's a liability actually, and showing the desperation of Keir Starmer. Yeah. Somebody even saying the new Tory party is Labour, and some are saying the new Labour Party is Conservative.
Yeah, I mean, we now live in a world where people's mind is set on a lot of conspiracy, and even if she had crossed the floor, like with all good intentions, you're still gonna have some people who will be finding the negatives out of it.
Yes.
And like I said last week, from time immemorial, we've been having deflections.
Mm.
And Gary again can tell you that's why there are so many churches, because everybody have their own different ideologies and all different type of what we'll call it now, contradiction. Right? That's why you have churches. That's why we had the NDM in Jamaica back in the 90s, because some people didn't agree with one done.
Gary, is that true? Why is that the reason why? Are you trying to say that's the reason why you have so many churches by square mile in Jamaica?
Yeah, I mean, I think not only in Jamaica has it happened, but I think even here in the UK. I mean, there's in Jamaica, as let me refer back to what Herbert said. Herbert may be alluding to. I mean, people get saved in churches. People go to a particular church. They don't like the leadership of the church. They don't like the direction which the leadership is going. They may not like certain individuals. They may not be in the leadership, but because they feel at the same time that they may not have an avenue to express whatever the Lord may be saying to them or showing them, they then go to the next street corner and put up a tent, as you know. I remember back in the day when the church on Red Hills Road, is it Red Hills Road?
Church on the Rock?
No, the church in
that's up Constant Spring.
Not Church on the Rock, no, the one on Halfway, just off Halfway Tree Road there, I believe. With that one-way system. I think it was Red Hills, wasn't it Red Hills Road?
No, Halfway Tree have the one-way system.
The one-way system, yeah. As if you're
yeah.
That now, I remember when it started, and it was a tent. It was a tent church. It was a crusade.
Yeah.
And that church has now grown and become established. And that's how churches in Jamaica started. That, you know, they start with a little tent and a little revival meeting, people flock to it. And that's why almost, you know, every square mile or so you have a conclave of churches. Same thing here in England. It may be different because you can't put up a tent, but I may not like what Herbert doing. I may think that Herbert not preaching right, and Herbert need help. Herbert don't need my help, and Herbert run me. So me just leave Herbert Church. I'm gonna take 2 of his members.
Yeah.
Start.
Can I just hear? Can I hear a humming sound? Somebody said I can't hear the humming sound, but someone said there's a humming sound. Can you hear a humming sound, you guys?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not hearing anything now.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
Huh?
It looks like it's gone.
It's gone now.
It's gone on. Listen, with the last time that we have here, I was saying I wanted to touch on the whole issue. There's a big thing. I don't know if it's a big thing or whatever, but there's a big thing going on in Jamaica about the same thing, Gary. Your favorite topic, the constitution reform.
my favorite.
You know? Oh, it's stopped now. Michelle says stop. There's a big thing going on there in Jamaica now, in coming from different forms. It is whereby the Constitution Reform Committee, led by the Minister of Constitutional Affairs, is wanting to put a recommendation over to the Parliament for it to be, you know, go through the process. Mark Golding, who is the opposition leader, has said it should not go until a couple of things are sorted in it, which is the whole bit about the Privy Council as the final court of appeal, because that is not like as one of the issues which they want to deal with. They're saying let's deal with it on a phase by phase. Let's deal with the Privy Council another time, but let's put this one through. A second thing that came up now also is that the opposition leader also said that he has no issues regarding dual citizenship. But all the guys them who were affected by the dual citizenship some years ago who had to dash with them American visa, their American citizenship, they're now coming out and say that it's a bit very, what should I say? It's a bit very hypocritical.
Yes.
You know, all of a sudden.
Let's say this is twofold, right? This constitutional argument has been going on from back in the 90s. And the JLP has always been shying away from the CCJ. Always. You cannot have it both ways, where you're looking to move out of someone's house but still have their breakfast. Right? It just cannot happen. If you're moving away, you move away fully. You have earned the right to be fully independent. Right?
Yeah.
Don't be like the slave who run away and go back because they like the treatment, because they cannot afford certain things.
Yeah.
And I go back to Shanice Mary. When she went to Barbados and she was sodomized inside the airport. The CCJ ruled on that case. It didn't have to come to Privy Council. The CCJ did what they had to do, and she got her money. She won the case. She got paid.
And also they came to Jamaica as well, isn't it?
And they went to Jamaica as well. Okay? Now, for a case to come to London, it takes years, and that is why the death penalty in Jamaica is no more. The Privy Council said for someone to be executed in Jamaica, they must be in custody, they must be on death row for 5 years before they can be executed.
Yes.
That means from sentencing to the last appeal sentence, it should take 5 years. No, it took 10 years for the last case in Jamaica to get to the Privy Council. Okay, so wherein that lies our duty that we cannot trust our own judges in the Caribbean to make sensible rulings, to make timely rulings.
I'm hearing a very lot of that. I'm hearing a lot of that about not trusting the judges, and the judges are friends. And I said, I said to the person, Virgin, the judges are friends with lawyers in the UK because they are lawyers, and they all go to the same school. They all go to the same Thames Law, like that. And I never forget one time there's a case. Without saying much, after the case finished and completed, the judge said she's not going to rise. She's just going to clear up some papers, and you guys just get your bags and blah, blah, blah. And we start having joke and running joke with the judge. And we're all having a chat. And then lo and behold, the mother came out and said, you guys are talking about me and blah, blah, blah. And then we had to say, oops, you know. But the fact of the situation, everybody know each other.
Of course.
You know. So when people are saying that about, the Jamaican or the Caribbean judges, them all know each other and it's corruption, I just said, what are you trying to say? We don't trust ourselves in order to be able to govern to a certain extent. Are we saying we want to get rid of the king, but yet at the same time having the king's court? And that's a simple position. I don't see the logics in trying to hold on to the Privy Council, and yet at the same time you want to get rid of the king.
No, it doesn't make no sense. No piecemeal business. You get rid of the king, you get rid of the Privy Council. If you like the king that much, don't move.
Might as well. You're right. Might as well we don't stay. Gary, what do you say? What do you say, Gary? Stay with the king, with his red painting.
Well, you might as well. I mean, is there any advantage of staying with the Privy Council or without the Privy Council? What's the advantage, if there's any, on either?
What
British heroes get richer.
Yeah. What are some of the arguments is that the Vibes Cartel case of recent days that shows that there was what should I say, bad laws, bad practice. There's a bad practice with the justice system in Jamaica there on that particular case, and the Privy Council reversed the process. So they are saying, see there, you don't trust them, man. Let us stay with the white man. Let's stay with the white man.
Sylbourne.
Yeah.
It took 10 years for that case to come to London.
Yeah.
If the CCJ was involved, it'll probably take 4 years. Because they're right in the Caribbean. They can fly to Jamaica. Or if they say, let's do it outside of Jamaica, it wouldn't cost them £500 to get to Barbados or Grenada.
Yes.
Right? It wouldn't. They wouldn't have to spend 2 weeks in Grenada or Barbados to have to hear the arguments. Yeah.
But nowadays,
nowadays,
what don't have to fly anywhere. They can do it on Zoom.
Well.
There you go.
The issue about the Zoom bit is that even if it's going to do it by Zoom, you still have to start the process by getting the paperwork and everything to the Privy Council, vis-a-vis same thing as the Caribbean Court of Justice as well, because for the hearings.
There you go. So what I'm hearing is that, and I said it to someone this evening, I was not born in the days of slavery, right? But we are now living in the days of slavery.
Explain that.
The reason I said it is that as a black, as people of color, we cannot trust, or we do not trust our own people of color to adjudicate over our affairs. We are handing it over to the white man to tell us what we have to do in order to survive. And that to me is nothing short of slavery.
So therefore,
you cannot trust you cannot trust the black judges in the Caribbean, but you can trust the white judges in England. Tell me, how does that work?
Well, it is something regarding the mindset, I would say, because a lot of people, a lot of the thinking, and again at the same time, that's the unfortunate thing, is that it is political. It has become so political now and so infest us in a political way, whereby the JLP supporters think in a particular way, PNP supporters think in a particular way. So the PNP supporters will go along with the leader, the JLP will go along with Malahou Fort and the leadership of the Labour Party. But one thing I say is this. But do they speak for the majority of people of Jamaica? Gary, no. Do they speak for the majority? Does the PNP and the JLP speak for the majority of people in Jamaica?
No.
And why we say that is, and why I say that is, at the last election it was 27% turned out to vote, and at the previous general election 37% came out to vote. So therefore, they're not actually they're not really speaking. You see, and that is why I said civil society and persons within the other aspect, the churches, they all need to play a part in the whole process of Jamaica becoming a republic. The issue about recall of president or recall of MPs, I don't think that is in the constitution reform. The issue about term limits, I don't think that is in the constitution reform. And what is it? What I got to understand as well is that the recommendation has also been already sent to Parliament without the opposition leader. And therefore, one is saying, but shouldn't the recommendation be sent to the people so the people can see exactly what is going into Parliament? So you see, it's like a gang of a set of people. I'm using that word fluidly, like a gang of a set of persons are actually holding the country
ransom
for ransom with this whole thing.
You see, Sylbourne and Gary is we've identified that Jamaicans vote with emotions, right? They do not vote on policies, because if Jamaicans were matured to the point where they can have a discussion with politics involved, without killing each other, without any great animosity, this would have been solved long ago. Right? I'm not in my 50s. I've been hearing about this in my 20s.
Yes.
Right? Barbados just start and finish.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Barbados actually got, well, I'm not going to say it because I don't have the full facts. I look for it at the same time we're talking. If the final court for Barbados is the CCJ, and for Trinidad as well, and I believe also that either Trinidad or Barbados or so had already removed the CCJ. Sorry, removed the Privy Council.
Trinidad.
Remove the Privy Council.
Trinidad.
Before. Yes.
Yeah.
One of the things that they're coming up a lot now, and they're saying, is that the political leadership of Jamaica is very immature at this point regarding this key factor. It is very immature, I must say. The way it is going on, the way it is being led, it is very terrible.
Because they believe in pulling wool, a black sheet over people's eyes.
Yeah.
Right? They want people to say yes to everything. Just say yes, just say yes, just say yes, without any great explanation. For example, when the minister was here, the question was raised, how are you going to get people living overseas to get involved in the electoral process? Her answer was, buy a ticket, come to Jamaica. Right? Gary lives in the UK and would like to vote. So
Yes.
Gary now is going to shut his business down for a whole month to go to Jamaica to vote. Right?
Yeah.
If they can at the end of the financial year say that remittances have increased and the benefit the remittances play in the Jamaican economy, why can't people living overseas be allowed to have a say in the future of Jamaica as well?
Yes.
So you want to use us for our money, but we must keep our mouths shut and not have anything to say about Jamaica because we do not live in Jamaica.
Yeah. The Caribbean Court of Justice is Trinidad Tobago Final Court of Appeal.
It's been from that way from the 90s, from when Trinidad became a republic from the 90s.
And also the Barbados is Barbados also say the Caribbean Court of Justice is a fine. So what is this thing? What is this thing with Jamaica then? What is this big issue with Jamaica then in actually it's a political decision, as Matunda always says. It's not something which is
it is, and it has always been a political decision.
Gary, what's the Lord saying? What the Lord saying on this one, man?
You and her were practicing for joke, you know. You and her were practicing for joke, man. No, I mean,
Gary, I didn't say anything. I promise you. I didn't tell him to say. You didn't hear me tell him to say. He just said it.
I don't have to hear you say anything too.
Him type a message to me earlier.
Me know.
but it is very concerning, I must say, regarding this whole thing, because it is like now people are now saying to stop the process, start it all over again. That's what some are saying now. Even you small, eminent KC, you small. Well, I don't. Well, he doesn't like to use the word KC anyhow, but he's also saying that it can't continue like this. Even another guy from Montego Bay say it can't continue like this. Even Bruce Golding has come out and said if the opposition is not on board, he's dead.
Yeah, I mean it's a bipartisan relationship.
Yes.
Right. So the current administration think it's okay for them to go and make all the decisions. It's a democracy. It's not a communist country. Right? They cannot make a decision on their own. What if they do? You're going to see anarchy in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Right? Because people don't want to see the king as head of the Jamaican government. We've been independent for 60 years, and they've been having this argument for the better part of 30 years.
We have been what?
Independent for 60 years, or said to be independent for 60 years.
Okay. Qualification, right? The term, yes. Yeah.
But we've been having this constitutional argument for the better part of 30 years, maybe 40 years. Right? You cannot remove the king i.e., is representative the Governor General, and still live in the people's backyard.
Let's use this. Let's say let's not use the word cannot, because it can. But let's say it is not. It doesn't make sense. It is nonsensical, and it's unwise for the Jamaican government or the Jamaican elected leadership to be actually selling to the people that sort of thinking. We are getting rid of the King of England. We are getting rid of the monarch. We are removing the UK as the head of state of Jamaica, because the UK is the head of state. The King is head of state. The Governor General represents the King. But yet at the same time, while we remove him, we're still going back into his backyard or his front garden.
Because, Sylbourne, let's face it.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Colonialism is
biggest.
I want to say.
The biggest indication that we got was in 2000 when they instituted the visa regime. Right?
Yes.
We cannot be a former colony of a nation, but you want to come here, you cannot just buy a ticket anymore and come. And I know it was done for obvious reasons.
Yeah, drug
right? Yeah, for security reasons. But since you remove the visa, take your Governor General too.
But it's very interesting, isn't it, Gary, that you still need a visa to come and see your head of state?
Yes. So you institute the visa, take your Governor General and everything that comes with it.
Actually, someone just said a while ago, so why is the monarch still ahead of Canada? The Canadians have their own final court. Well, if the Canadians have their own final court, that is just a point that is not entrenched in the Constitution. I mean to say they can have their final court. So let me check about Canada, because
we do not know what Canada's Constitution is.
Yeah.
Right? It will be interesting to find out, because they still have a Governor General, I think.
Well, listen, my philosophy is that once you have a Governor General, and my brother is going to have a go at me right here on Instagram, on TikTok, you're not independent. So Australia is not independent. Canada is not independent. I don't care what anybody says. Once you're showing allegiance to the King of England, you're not independent. You're in the process of being independent. Take it.
We're all a dependent nation, because the police force in Jamaica cannot carry out effective police work. Why? Because the EU, the UK, the US, Canada is telling them, be mindful of how you deal with your citizens.
Yeah.
Right? They do not know the Jamaican culture. They do not know the Jamaican landscape. They do not know that the gunmen in Jamaica are heavily armed.
Yeah.
But they're restricting the government from buying weapons for the police force.
Yes. And the point is here, I'll just clarify that point now. The Supreme Court of Canada is a final court of appeal for all levels of court in Canada. Any legal issue, whether under the Constitution of Canada, federal law, or provincial law, potentially can be heard and determined by the Supreme Court. Now, my gentleman who came on the show the other day, he brought up the point, and it's been muted now. Then why can't Jamaica have its final court of appeal then?
There you go.
Why can't Jamaica have its final court of appeal, its own Supreme Court? Simple as that.
And Jamaica has some of the most qualified jurists in the world.
Yes.
How many Jamaican lawyers are judges in other countries?
Yes. So therefore the question, I think where the whole thing needs to turn on its head now is forget the Caribbean Court of Justice, forget the Privy Council, and just formulate your own Supreme Court. And then people will say, oh, but it's not tested. I said, for Pete's sake, any child getting up to walk or so must fall.
Yeah.
We need to start the process, man. Come on. As someone said a while ago, someone said someone said UK imported colonialism, time to cut ties. Someone said because of the nature of the Jamaican politics. Because of the nature of the Jamaican politics, what do you mean by that?
We need to have our own court. We need to have our court in the Caribbean. The CCJ has is just as effective as the Privy Council, and I'm certain the CCJ will move with speed. The Privy Council move like a set of senior citizens who can't get out of their own way.
Yeah. I was supposed to meet with Matunda today and talk about this and so like that, you know. But it's very interesting, and I believe, you know, it's gonna unfold more and more this whole discussion regarding the Privy Council and the government and the Minister Mallahu fought, and also with the opposition leader as well. So it's a big thing going on in Jamaica at present, and we're going to see more of that. Gary, what's your last word, Gary?
We just have to. I think we just have to pray for Jamaica, pray for the politicians, you know, because it's going to get more confusing. I mean, why they now stop asking to stop the process? I mean,
well, because what they're saying to stop the process is because of the fact that, okay, one, the education process has not taken place in Jamaica. People don't really know what's going on.
So why stop? They can't stop.
No. The process has ended. It has gone to. It is going over to the cabinet now. To Parliament. The recommendation is going over to Parliament now. It's like you've actually had your debate and your discussion and your education process with the people of Jamaica. Well, that has not really happened. You understand? So that is why they say it needs to be revamped. Start the process all over, because what has now come in the mix is the whole thing on dual citizenship now, which has now come into the mix, which needs to be factored into the whole constitution. So people are saying JLP, say MP accused PNP of sabotaging Republic push. You know what I'm saying? Another one, Stern, golden position on dual citizenship, hypocritical. You know, what is happening here now is Holness says government good news lost on audience interested in negative news. What is happening now is Chan claimed 56% of reduction in gangs across the island. You know, everything is like it just needs to be totally revamped. Yeah.
Sylbourne, the fact of the matter is
shrouded in secrecy. God, reform is being politicized. That's correct. Yes.
I do not think half of Jamaica, let me not say half, a greater majority of Jamaica and living in Jamaica do not understand what is going on. Right? Why? It's because the government, the current administration, does not see fit to go out and engage with the people of Jamaica on matters to determine their future.
Yes.
That's all that's all I'm saying.
Listen, man, everybody's coming out of the woodwork. Senator Gail chides Golden for misleading comments on the diaspora. These guys are just children. They're like kids. Gary, the government of Jamaica and all these guys, they're like kids. You've seen they're like picking them. They're children.
We all know that most of them came into politics not having proper guidance. When you have people like Bruce Golding, PJ Patterson, all those elder statesmen, right? They've done their bit in politics. They've stepped away from it. They're no longer engaged in it. So you have all these babies coming up with their own idea of what politics is and should be.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know. I think Jamaica has gone back about 40 years.
King's Counsel Small said that he's a part of it and he's not in agreement with what is going on. That's you small. Somebody just said it a while ago. I think I just saw it. And someone says, this guy from Montego Bay, what's his name? Lloyd B. Smith. He said,
Yeah, Lloyd Smith, political
Prime Minister Andrew
communicator.
Holness and leader of opposition Mark are being encouraged to put aside their animosity and engage in further veiled royal talks to resolve the current impasse in the constitutional reform process. It seems like, listen, and this is another senator here. Government Senator Shireen Golding Campbell is accusing opposition leader Mark of harming the country's constitutional reform agenda. Gary, I think the best proposal is that it needs to somewhat be taken out of the hands of the government. It seems like it needs to be taken out of the hands of the government, or stay with the king.
Either one.
If you take it, okay, put it like this now. If you took the process, if that's what you're talking about, if you took the process out of the hands of the government, who would you give it to?
I think it should. I think there should be a broadside group which should be mandated with drafting. I'm going to use the word drafting, not reforming the constitution.
Drafting. Who's going to choose them? Who's going to choose that group?
Huh?
Who would choose that group?
Me, you, Herbert, and Gary, and we are going to go back to Jamaica and take over Jamaica. And
that's a major problem because the people who would have any kind of influence to choose that very wise group of people, if I could use that term, are the very same people that you're taking it from. Because so to me, they're going to choose people who are going to think just like them.
Well, they say a non, like someone just said, a non-political group that can make fair decision.
That's it. That's all it needs.
Yeah, but who's going to choose that group? Yeah, but who's going to choose that group?
Gary.
Yeah.
They're influential people in Jamaica.
Civil society.
That can make a non-political decision.
You think so?
I'm telling you.
I think so, Gary.
I'm telling you.
I mean, about those ladies that on the show, Professor Rose.
The thing is,
who are they, Herbert? Who are they?
Sylbourne, that interview that I did on Sunday.
Yes.
It is one of the most potent interviews you've done that I've seen.
Yes.
Right? And I'm certain there are 4 people like her in Jamaica that can make very, very important decisions for Jamaica, in Jamaica.
Yeah.
You better go there.
Me.
You what somebody say? Somebody say, where are you going to find a non-political group, as you say a while ago, Gary? And then someone say, even if the group is non-political, them still all say a Mark Golding group.
Exactly.
I mean, you see, that's why I say Jamaicans are not politically mature.
No,
right?
but
Jamaicans are not politically mature to the point where...
Yeah, I would say so, Herbert.
Yeah.
Why?
You have some who are politically mature, but you have some who are immature. I believe that, well, if you can tell me, if you and Sylbourne can tell me that you can find persons who are not political that you can put together in the group that you have mentioned, you can find political mature individuals in Jamaica.
Listen, I have no problem with people being politically aligned. My issue is when their political alignment messes up their sight of how they should see things, of how things should go. I believe that in Jamaica, you can call upon some really serious persons, especially civil society with the church, and to be a part of this process, and then government is waiting for them to. It's like the judges, for argument's sake. Judges are independent in a way. Bring a couple judges on the whole thing. Bring a couple church leaders on the whole thing. Bring a couple civil society groups on the whole thing. Get all of them and get some good draftsmen at the same time to really go through the whole process. Take it out of the hands of the government. Take it out of their hands, because they are seeing everything from a 5-year perspective, a 2-year perspective. Who wants to be the president? Who wants to be the party or the government that lead us or usher us into independence and all those sort of things. Sorry, into full independence, I would say. Take it out of their hands, because right now, what I'm seeing now, and being led by Malahufo, no disrespect on my brethren, but I think it's not working. It's not working with her.
No, it's not. Not from the arguments that I heard at the High Commission, right? I think she's just saying what the Prime Minister wants to hear and not what he needs to hear.
I was watching the press conference with she and the Prime Minister, and when the Prime Minister was speaking, she was like, exactly. You know, there's yes men around Andrew Holness. They're all yes men around Andrew. I mean, I can say publicly, there's yes men around Andrew Holness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's just a waste of space. You know what I mean?
Gary,
you know,
across the Caribbean, there are some brilliant lawyers and some brilliant judges out of Jamaica practicing in the Caribbean. Are you going to tell me that the powers that be cannot call upon the expertise of those men and women to come and sit at the long rectangular table up at Ville Royale and have a mature discussion on the Jamaican Constitution?
Yes.
There are people here in the UK, qualified lawyers, who can sit at the rectangular table and have a mature discussion on Jamaica's Constitution and the way forward.
Yes.
But Jamaica, being Jamaica and what it is, refuse to engage these people because they're not going to say what the government of the day wants them to say. They're going to say what they need to say.
And listen to what Bruce Golding has come out now to say. Legislators must undertake a serious review of the Caribbean Court of Justice to decide its fate as Jamaica's final court of appeal. Mr. Golding says the discussion began seriously about 19 years ago. He's reacting to news from opposition leader Mark Golding. Boy, I tell him, Mark Golding seems to be doing something good, because everybody are going at him. He put a little, drop a little stone in the water there, and it starts to ripple. You know, it clearly shows, though. It clearly shows that the discussion is bigger than what we are looking at. The fact that this is becoming an issue is bigger than it. And just like when I was walking in Jamaica, and I said to a couple of my brethren, I said, "What have you guys heard about the constitutional reform?" They said nothing.
Because the news is not spread in Jamaica. They travel overseas because we here cannot vote in Jamaica. If a referendum is called, right, we are not on the voters list to vote. And that is why there was only 29.7% of the electoral population voted in Jamaica. Okay?
Well, I have a virgin here upon TikTok. Boy, him love the Labour Party. Him love Andrew Holness and so on and so on.
If we were registered to vote, if Jamaicans living overseas were registered to vote, all this foolishness would not be happening.
Do you believe that is one of the reasons why they are not entertaining diaspora votes?
Yes, without a doubt. Yes.
I mean, which party do you think, when you look at I don't know if you are privy to information such as that or something. It will be interesting on my part to know who do you both believe that if the Jamaican diaspora outside of Jamaica, and I'm talking worldwide now, if I know it's unfair, but who do you think, which party do you think would really have a voice to say anything? Would it be JLP or the other party that has just started?
I
when it just started, what do you mean just started?
The one that you was advocating last year, talking much of.
Which party that?
The independent is talking about.
Oh, UIC who came?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to find out what they actually
saying. I wouldn't. I can't say, but what I can say is that Jamaicans living overseas have become more clued up when it comes to politics.
Yes.
Right? That if we should be called upon to cast our votes, we cast it without any type of emotions. Well, you have some very emotional ones, right? That's Sylbourne. Me and you know them, Sylbourne, right? You have some very emotional ones that no matter what happened, they're going to vote along party lines. But Jamaicans know, I think, if the ones living overseas were allowed to vote, we will cast our vote based on policies and not on the politicians.
Yeah. You know, Gary, if overseas people get involved in the political voting in Jamaica, it's gonna be both parties will benefit from that, because you got people from the Labour Party who are affiliated with the Labour Party outside of Jamaica. You got people who are People's National Party who are outside of Jamaica. But it's unfortunate that one is seeing it in that way for the PNP or the JLP. I think what it should be doing is opening up the doors for other third parties, fourth parties to come into the frame. People like UIC and those guys up Jamaica and these persons to come into the frame, and for them to actually pitch their tent and pitch their argument, pitch their case, pitch their manifesto, because I believe that can really make a dent. Just like in the UK, you are having the Liberal Democrat, you're having the Green. Everybody's sending their signals straight to the government and the opposition to say that we don't really like what Conservative is doing, but we don't trust Keir Starmer. So they're moving to the Green, they're moving to the Lib Dems, they're moving to the Looney Loon Party and all those sort of things. Reform Party has come up in the frame and taking votes from the Conservative. That's not happening in Jamaica. That's what should be happening in Jamaica.
Yes. But the thing about it is that what we're seeing now, and it could be I don't know. But what we're seeing in the UK, as you just said, they're sending a message to the Conservative Party.
Yes.
But will the votes be transferred across to the general election when the time comes?
That's a big point. That's a big point. That's why I mentioned earlier Ed Miliband. The signs were there. It was positive, like he was going to win. What's his name? Jeremy Corbyn. The signs were there. Everyone thought it was going to win, but the voters was different.
Completely.
The silent majority came out.
Yeah, because Jeremy Corbyn was talking out of two sides of his mouth.
But at the same time, Harry, before you can continue with your point there.
Yeah.
I believe you said something in relation to if the diaspora outside of Jamaica began to vote, that all the parties in Jamaica, or let's say the two major parties in Jamaica, would benefit. Yes, they would, but I believe that probably one would be very strong. Now, I'm just saying, you know, and I know it's an unfair question, and probably I've got the answer already, but I'm just saying, who do we believe would be the strongest of both parties? Because one party would be strong.
If
It wouldn't be equal.
Yeah.
Not be equal.
If today Jamaicans overseas had a vote, the majority of that vote, I believe, would go to the PNP. And I tell you why I say that. Because the JLP has been in government for so long. And if it was PNP in power for like the same time as the JLP, most of the votes will be going to the JLP. I believe that after 8 years or so, any political party, they start becoming arrogant, they start becoming defunct, and they start believe that they're full of it. And that is why I believe that the PNP will win the next election, hook or crook, because of the fact that one has been in power for so long, and there's a level of arrogance that can come up. Absolute power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, so this term is. People may not agree with me, but that's how I see the signs are on the wall. And this is not about party or political affiliation. It is just like what is happening in the UK now. It is a time for change. It's happening in politics all the while. After a certain time, it's time to move on, time to shift. Because what it brings out a freshness at the same time. People are feeling frustrated. People are feeling tired. People are feeling, yes, developments are happening, but somehow it is not filtering down to them. It is catering for a particular class. And I saw the Prime Minister said that the positive stuff are not coming through. It's a negative thing coming from the social media and everything like that. But yet at the same time, the Prime Minister was the one who used social media when he was with his clerks and everything like that, leading up to his election and catering to the youths.
It's all well and good when things are going, when the tide is moving in his direction, right? He will take all the credit.
Yes.
But when things are not going the way that he wants them to, it is somebody else's fault, not his.
Yes.
It's funny. Right? Like Delroy Chuck said, even if the speaker is wrong, she's right because she's a speaker.
Yes. And that is something very, very, very profound. The fact that you have a government which they have not even signed up to the code of conduct. You know, the 7 principles on the tenets of the code of conduct. They haven't. The fact that
because they have no principle.
Yeah, the fact that you have a government who, well, it is claimed that 6 persons are being investigated for illicit enrichment, investigated for corruption, not guilty.
Who are those?
No, we don't know. I don't know, Gary. But the point
they shall remain faceless.
The point I'm trying to say, Gary, the fact that there are 6 persons being investigated for illicit enrichment, and nobody knows, these persons could be still on oversight committees, on working in some particular areas. They should be step aside for a period of time. Still remain as an MP, but just focusing on your constituents while you go through the process. The fact that the Prime Minister actually declaration has not been certified, that says a lot again as well.
Of course.
But of course, he said he has put forth the documents and everything like that, but he's not been certified.
When?
You know?
I mean, you can be legally right and morally wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
And
I think in Jamaica, the politicians, some of them, I wouldn't say all, but some are not legally right, hence not morally right.
Yes.
That's why Jamaica find themselves in the low 60s, high 70s on the CPI index, the Corruption Prevention Index.
Yeah. I think it would be really good at a time like this in Jamaica, whereby something of a constitutional thing, a matter like this of such a high importance, that the two sides, the two government sides, and bring in the UIC, bring in all of the stakeholders, civil society, sit down together, chaired by whosoever, and say, come on, guys, let's work on this together. Let's come together. As someone said, the Vale Royal conversation, actually, don't bring it just PNP and JLP, because the word is out there. The word is out there, and based on the last elections and the previous elections, it was 27% came out at the last election to vote.
You see them because they take the message overseas. Yeah. They do not spread it in Jamaica.
And the previous election, it was 37%. So if you're talking about 700,000 people came and voted for both JLP and PNP at the last general election, then what about the other 2.3 million people in Jamaica? They're not speaking for the majority of Jamaica, Gary.
Sylbourne,
so therefore,
the message is delivered from Norman Manley Airport or Donald Sangster International overseas.
Yes.
Right? It's not taken to the districts in Jamaica or the parish capitals in Jamaica, because they do not want the people in Jamaica to understand what's going on.
Yes.
They take it to us here overseas. Because we cannot go to Jamaica we can't be bothered, or we can't afford to go to Jamaica to vote.
Yeah, but why tell us? Because we don't have the opportunity to vote anyway.
Yeah, so, because they want to keep the information away from the mainstream people in Jamaica.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you. But keeping information from the Jamaicans there and sharing it to the Jamaicans outside that can't vote, what's the point? What point are they trying to make?
That is their way of telling people in Jamaica, we do not want to hear your voice. And they're telling people overseas, we do not want to hear your voice, but we want your money. So we're coming to share some message with you.
You know, I'm going to open up TikTok. I'm going to open up TikTok as well. Anyone who wants to come on TikTok and talk, Ashrag or whatever like that, just send an invite and I'll open up TikTok as well, because this is very interesting. TikTok is blowing up as well right now.
What Jamaica, what Manafort was promoting was election tourism.
Election tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we want to if we want to have a voice in how Jamaica is run, when election come, buy a ticket and come to Jamaica.
So we got election tourism now.
Right? Sylbourne was there when she said it.
Yes.
Right? So Gary, you haven't been to Jamaica in 40 years. But because you so love politics, you're going to buy a ticket and drive from Birmingham to London to get to Kingston.
Listen, there was somebody I was trying to find during the election recently, and they sent me a picture with their finger. They went down to Jamaica to vote. I believe that it should be in this 21st century we are in. Are we still in the 21st century?
You have electronic voting.
You should be able to go to your High Commission and vote. You have two-factor authentication and all these sort of things there. Come on, man. Listen, I believe. Listen. My philosophy. This is my philosophy, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that the political class in Jamaica want to keep their political voters uneducated and fool.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Yes, they want to keep and then get them to live out of their hands, whereby they might eat a food. So therefore, they want to keep them backward and fool and ignorant.
Exactly what I'm saying.
And that is why I got to understand that the middle class do not vote in Jamaica. The middle class and those who are of high excellence, Virgin, I spoke to them not vote. So therefore, it is to the benefit of the political class to keep the people ignorant. And then when it come on to election, they run around the place and say, me there. And my boy, and then people run up and down. There are people right here even on TikTok here. They worship the ground of these politicians. They will defend it to the dogs. Everything like that. Bloggers and everybody's coming out of the woodwork. That's why I'm not a bloggist. I'm not a blogger like these guys in Jamaica. I'm not a blogger. I'm the Sylbourne Sydial show. I don't use that word about podcast. I'm blogging. I'm trying to say I'll keep into that sort of frame. It is stupidness. It is rubbish. Taking the people for idiots. And right now you have the main political leaders, the main political class in Jamaica, what they're doing, fighting each other. And instead of actually turning things around to educate the mass of people, what they should be doing is educating the mass of people. I went to my former primary school in Jamaica, Ocherous Primary School. I went to my former high school in Jamaica, York Castle High School. I went to Brownstone Community College. These are institutions. These institutions should be having classes for their local community about electoral constitutional reform.
It's not happening. It is not happening.
I know it's not happening. That's
does not want it to happen.
This is what should be happening. Educating the people, educating the children. So therefore, everybody's talking about constitutional reform. We want to get rid of the king. Why should we get rid of the king? Everybody talking about. So it should be on their lips. Everybody excited about this new direction of Jamaica. But guess what? They're scared. As somebody said, they're fearful.
What did Dennis Meadows went on the stage in Trelawney and said? He embraced criminals. Warmington, what did he say on Old Harbour? He wants Jamaican to suffer because no opposition member of parliament ain't getting his money to spend. His money.
His money. His money, Gary.
And
his money.
Those are the things that Jamaicans knock pot cover together, drink beer together, and celebrate the foolishness that is being said.
But that has been happening for all of these years. It's not only now, Herbert. You know, it's not only now, Herbert.
No, yes, and it's not only now. But that's why I say Jamaicans are not matured, electorally mature to vote on policies and not vote for politicians. Because if they had voted on policies, we wouldn't be having this discussion tonight.
I'm going to try to find a snippet of that interview I did the other night. When the lady spoke about when people are paying their taxes, see it as an investment, and when they pay their taxes, expect a return. You know, expecting a return from the government or so. You know, Gary, this is really serious stuff, Gary. You know what I mean? This is really high level stuff. You know what I mean?
What did we say? Remember last year when you were there running up and down like a spring chicken for them? You went to Leicester, you went to Nottingham, you were in London, you went to Bristol, you went to Birmingham.
No, I mean, Gary, it was a good initiative that Sylbourne and Matunda did.
No,
right?
I hear that. It is a good thing, but they never come back to him about anything. And even when he went to Jamaica, the other day, and him sit down, him would tell you, him sit down with Holness.
I never sat down with Holness.
No, but he went there, and none of them knew what he knew about what they wanted to do in Jamaica. Hardly anybody that he sat down with in Jamaica knew the details. It might have been sketchy, but he had a goal.
Because the information is not shared in Jamaica. The information is from Jamaica House to the airport, to New York, London, Canada, and then back to Jamaica. So all the information that is being shared, the message is taken overseas and not to Spanish Town, nor Bagwalk, nor Linstead. So the people in Jamaica do not know what is going on, and they do not listen to radio stations to find out what is going on. Right? The mindset of Jamaicans living in Jamaica is different to the point where if a member of parliament or a councillor comes into their area, they only want to find out what is going on with the road or if we can get some water. They do not ask questions about what is going on with the Constitution.
Yeah. All right. Let me play this, Gary. Just a little snippets, Gary. Let me just play this for a few moments. Listen.
I have been doing advocacy for 11 years now, and I was the co-executive director for the Jamaica Civil Society Coalition. That was back in 2012, 13, 14. So it's a good place to start because because JAMP began in 2019. A civil society doing advocacy for 11.
Who are you talking to? I picked up from an article which you wrote about. Do not forfeit your right to know. Why was that so poignant? And who are you talking to? And say, do not forfeit your right to know.
That's a wonderful and a beautiful start for me. That question, Sylbourne, because I have been doing advocacy for 11 years now, and I was the co-executive director for the Jamaica Civil Society Coalition. That was back in 2012, 13, 14. So it's a good place to start because because JAMP began in 2019. There are some Jamaicans who are tempted to think that this is a boy, since Mr. Holness come in, Miss Calder. No, I've been around under both administrations, and I raise that for the reason. It's only under this founding this organization and really getting deeper into the work of the Parliament that I have come to the conclusion that the problem is not the politician. I don't even really want to start about blaming. It's not. I like the question you asked because I've diagnosed the problem as a question of citizens not being clear as to what is their real identity.
Yes.
And so it has taken me almost 4 years of JAM for us last year in the third year to come into what is our real message and what is our real job. And I would say that no matter how many times you have me, Sylbourne, and I hope to be back from time to time, my message is always going to start here. I'm not just a citizen of Jamaica. And I guess I've been operating out of that space because when I ask myself, what is the word citizen? What does it mean? I think of where I belong. You just came back to where you belong for a visit. Yes. You belong here still. No matter where you go, you're going to come back to where you belong from time to time. But I want to challenge those who are listening. As much as citizen, that word makes us feel good. In the context of the discussions that we have and the work that I'm doing, I am not as much interested in where I belong as what belongs to me.
Yeah.
146. I am a part owner and a shareholder of 146 public companies. Yeah. I own this thing that they call Crown Land. It's my land. Yeah. So I am more interested in citizens listening to you and saying Sylbourne is talking about my companies. I am also not just a voter. That's another word that we use to identify ourselves. No. Voting is something that signals to me that I have something to do once every 4 or 5 years. I don't like that word.
Yes.
I am an employer because voting is a mechanism to hire 63 public officials every 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
They knock on my gate and they're asking me for a work, Sylbourne. So if I am choosing the mechanism by which I employ them, which is voting, I'm an employer. So I'm not really supposed to be doing something once every 4 or 5 years. An employer is what? Checking in on their employees on a regular basis.
Yes.
All right. And the third and last is I am not a taxpayer. I've been a consultant for a long time and I used to have to pay my tax. And every time I must press the button, I don't want to think about how much money we just spend, right? Yeah. Press the button, I'm gone. No. What I am is an investor. I'm a financier of every single penny the government is going to spend. I am financing that job. I am paying their salary. So when I say that to myself and I say that to citizens now, they get it like this because a financier and an investor wants what? A return on their investment. And it's not money I'm looking, but I'm looking good road, good schools, good education, good hospitals. I want a return. And if I press that button and don't look back again, then what's going to happen to my investment? Things going to go bad and I don't know what's happening. Yes. So I'm here to answer your question because, and we're talking about the right to know because an owner wants to know what's happening to it, to their assets. Yeah. An investor wants to know what's happening with their investment. Employer wants to know what their employees are doing. So that is what we're talking about today. When I say do not forfeit your right to know. If somebody's taking away your right to get an answer, don't forfeit it. Don't let it go. Hold on to it and demand the information that you have, because you own the asset, you're paying them salary, and you're obligated to get an answer. Don't give it up easily. And so that's a good opening for what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so I just wanted to play that, and I just had wanted to play that, Gary, just to set the stage a bit, you know. And that discussion which I had with Miss Calder on Sunday night. As a matter of fact, this Sunday night I'm going to be having Mr. Courtney Campbell, the CEO and president of Victoria Mutual VM, talk about the diaspora conference, you know, as well. You know, promoting everything.
He's here or he's there?
No, it's going to be virtual. He's in Jamaica. Okay. But what's your thought about what that lady said, Gary?
No, it's interesting. I mean, I was hoping that you would let it run.
No,
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand you're saying that. I like what she said.
Yeah, it's a full 1 hour video, but that's just an 8 minutes bit which I took out. Yes. I don't know if you saw it. I'll send it to you. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see that video, go onto my YouTube channel with my email, my discussion interview with Jeanette Calder last week Sunday. It's on my YouTube channel, Sylbourne TV. Herbert.
That's the most powerful statement I've heard in an interview that you've done. Right? Basically, the government should be at our beck and call.
Yes.
But because of the mindset of our people, they have turned it around, and the government is telling them what they should be doing to keep them in power. That is wrong. We the people, Jamaicans, overseas and local, should be demanding more of our government representatives and let them start fret when election is coming, because they don't know if they're going to be around for the next cycle.
Yes.
Or if they're going to be booted out.
Yes. Yes. That is so true. And one of the key points which she mentioned in the interview was that we need to see ourselves, or Jamaicans need to see themselves as employers, and that the government and those in political office who are being elected, they should be employees. And therefore, a lot of these documents, which I keep here talking about, going around there, going there, it should be going to the people. The people. And what she said is that documents that goes to Parliament are actually documents for the people of Jamaica.
But it is hidden from the people of Jamaica.
Yeah, it is for the people of Jamaica. Should be going to the MP and say, I'd like to see that document. I'd like to hear that stuff. But it is like untouchable. People are because
the government have their lackeys, right? Who will tell people you can't talk to the boss like that.
Don't you know who I am?
Yeah. And the big man that you can't talk to him like that, you're mad.
That's a minister, you know? That's a minister.
Right. Remember, say me know spot you sleep, you know. Remember, me know your mother and your father, me know your girlfriend. You can't talk to man like that.
I remember once I was at a diaspora conference, and I was there speaking to someone, having this conversation at one of the booths, and then all of a sudden, the conversation took a turn where the person was looking at me. They were like getting excited, and when I look, there was a minister of government walking down with an entourage of people, and I said, "What is this?"
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, the next thing the person needed to do was to bow down.
Yeah. So unless and until Jamaicans educate themselves
Yeah.
on the role of their political representatives. There is going to be a deficit, a mindset deficit in Jamaica,
Or
and it will last for generations.
or they should know who they are, having an identity of self and who they are, what they're about.
Yes,
And
yes.
if you know who you are, what yourself is about, and what Bob Marley said about emancipate yourself from mental slavery, you never have this discussion being taking place about retain the CCJ or leave the Privy Council or keep the king or not the king. Everybody would say, listen, when I went to Birmingham, Gary, the same constitutional discussion. When I went to Birmingham, there were some African guys there from a university, was like staff. One of them came to me and said after, I don't understand this. That's the way you don't understand. I don't understand how you guys are actually having debate about removing the king. He couldn't understand that. He couldn't understand that there was a debate about removing the king of England or removing the monarch as the head of Jamaica state. He's shocked. He couldn't understand it. He could not understand that there was a debate about a reform to remove the king of England as the head of state. Totally.
And that is why we see certain people can commit crimes in Jamaica and nothing is done to them because they are protected, they're endangered species. Right?
Well, Gary, this was supposed to be a 1 hour show. And when I didn't see you guys, I said I was going to finish in 45 minutes. And then you guys come on at that time. And now it's almost 2. This is not talk and sip. Talk and sip is normally 2 hours. This was Thursday night, 1 hour show.
Well, sometimes sometimes you have to dig deep and come with the goods.
Do
you know they say that? Sorry, Gary, you're saying something.
No, I'm just saying that I think that I don't. Well, is it too late now for Jamaica to change? For Jamaica to begin to look at the politicians that they have, because the politicians that they have now on both sides. Because I'm not going to say that the Labour Party is rubbish and they're inept and such. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say the same for PNP either.
Yeah.
But because but you see, the mindset of politicians in Jamaica needs to change. And the age of the politicians that's there, some of them are going to be there for a long time if they don't if they're not changing. So
but Gary, the mindset of the politicians cannot change and will not change until the employers, the mindset of the employers have changed.
Yeah.
Right? The mindset of the politicians won't change until they start go out into the unbeaten path and start spreading the message to the people that voted for them, to put them in there. They're hiding the messages from the people, telling the people what they want to hear, not telling them what they need to hear. And because of the deficit of intellectuals in Jamaica that follow politics, the politicians, the elected representatives, keep themselves in office because they refuse to give relevant and credible information. Talking about renovating 10 police stations and 10 fire stations, you shouldn't be talking about that because that's your duty. Yes? You should be talking about issues affecting the wider Jamaican population, abroad and local.
Yes.
And stop talking about you've repaired 10 fire stations and 10 police stations. That was what you were elected to do.
Yes. It's like having praise for things what you're elected to do already. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, listen, guys, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go now, but I'm gonna go on TikTok for just a bit. Gary, you gonna come over on TikTok? Herbert, can you spell TikTok? I don't know if you can spell TikTok yet.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Well, listen,
man. I'm going to work in the morning. I'm up at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
You two are almost you two are semi-retired. You can do anything you want.
Yeah. I will have to follow this program Saturday night on Talk and Sip Away. I think that's the trend on it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it on Saturday night and see if I can get you small to come on. And I'm with it. Yeah. Gary.
All right, man. You take care.
Peace out. I'm on TikTok for just a few minutes or so. That's what happened over there.
All right. Yeah, man.
Gary, sorry for keeping up so late, yeah?
Oh, Gary.
It's not me, man. It's you.
No, I said sorry for keeping you up so late. I apologize.
No, it's not me. You must sorry too. I feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
You have passed your curfew.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you, guys, and thank you for those on Facebook and YouTube and all over.
Please have a good night.
Remember to like and share, and and those also on Instagram as well. Instagram, all the best. Big up. I'm going on TikTok now, and so like that. Let me see. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Have a good night.
Yeah, let me see something here. Getting the feedback over here. Okay, peace out. See you later, guys.
Yeah, peace.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Bye-bye.